Hello, my name is Roberta Silvestre. I'm currently an architecture and urbanist student by the Federal University of Minas Gerais in Brazil. And this seminar is part of my final paper, and I'm researching about invisible borders, contemporary diasporas, and the influence of digital. And today I'm here with Jakub Kaźmierczak, a concept artist and photographer who is traveling around the world. Currently, he is based in Morocco. So, Jakob, tell me more about yourself and your lifestyle.
Hi, I'm from Poland originally, from small village of the name of Chłądowo, another fancy Polish word. And I studied animation and visual special effects in my university. I was thinking about being an architecture, but I wasn't accepted into the art school, so here I am. Instead of that, I became the concept artist for the movies and the games, where I designed the buildings, movie sets, environments, and characters. And thanks to my job, I'm able to travel around the world and work remotely. And currently, I'm based in Marrakesh, Morocco.
And so, you have an European passport. Do you need visa to visit some country?
Yes and no. Like, I can stay in most of the countries between 30 and 90 days. Though to the so-called, in my opinion, fun countries, I still need visa. Like, for instance, Iran or Thailand or Vietnam, I need visa.
And how do you feel about it, needing a visa?
I mean, it's it's a little bit annoying. Like in Europe, we don't need that, but I'm I'm not spending a lot of time in Europe, so I really don't feel that I have the European passport because everywhere else I travel, it's still like required, and it's like it's still better than for my friends that I have from like Brazil or Morocco, or like getting the visa to other countries is really hard. For me, it's still quite easy, but sometimes annoying.
Do you have a fixed residence in any country? Like, do you have a house in your name or in your family?
Like technically speaking, I'm still a resident of Poland, and my parents have house there, and I'm registered in their house. I don't have my own house.
And can you choose where, how, and under what conditions you work?
Yes, as long as I work during the core hours of my current client, I can work everywhere.
And how many hours do you work per day?
That depends. It's usually between 6 and 8 hours, and sometimes I don't work at all because there is no task for me at the company. It really depends. I like in the movies, it's sometimes a lot of work, sometimes none.
And do you have the right to time off or recess?
Like my current company is based in Sweden, so technically speaking, I follow the Swedish holidays. And when I want to take time off, I can take it, but I won't be paid for that.
And currently you have one job. You are hired.
Yes. Yes, I have one job, but like if there is any other like freelance gig, I may or may not take it. But it really depends on my like time and how available I am.
And do you earn like a fixed or by hour?
It's I have a daily rate, so it's kind of fixed, and no matter how many hours a day I work, I still gonna get paid by the day.
Okay. And um, does this company or person that provide you or guarantee you with some labor rights?
I mean, technically speaking, I yes, like the labor rights of Sweden, but it's still like my client, and it's like the freelance type of thing. So compared to my coworkers, I have very little to no rights.
Like, for example, if you get sick, how do you take care and monitor your health? Do they have to provide you something?
No, they won't provide me anything. And usually when I'm sick, I'm still working. Like if I'm super sick, then I may take day off. But that's it.
And how did you manage that? Like, if you do you have like healthcare? I mean,
I mean, when I travel, I have the normal travel insurance. We have like the insurance in Poland, but uh, I rarely use that because it usually takes time to get an appointment. And when I'm sick, I need like the visit now, so I just like go private because it's faster.
and how the healthcare systems works in Poland?
You have to pay every month. It's based on your salary in most of the cases. The tax for that it's between 100 to infinity euros. Like it is based on your like your salary. So for me at the moment, I have like kind of fixed in a sense, and it's like 200 euros per month of my health insurance.
And do you pay that?
I have to.
Okay. It's like mandatory.
It is mandatory, otherwise you won't be able to use the public hospitals. And like technically speaking, you can skip paying, but on the other hand, they still can like sue you. So it's a bit gray area in that sense.
And are your main expenses in the same currency that you earn? Like, in what currency do you earn your main source of income? And in what currency do you pay your what you need?
Daily, yeah. Like I earn in US dollars, and I have like in Europe there's like the international bank called Revolut, so I keep all my money there. And when I live abroad, I just use the currency of the country I'm currently living. Like the dollars are converted to the currency of the country, basically.
And to choose the country that you are going to live in, you make this choice based on it? Like, do you prefer countries where your money is more valued? Or...
No, I don't really pay attention to that. For me, it's more about the culture, the people, the architecture, and like cuisine. Like I think picking countries based on how much money you will have because you earn in other currency, it's kind of not bad, but it doesn't make sense for me.
And do you pay taxes like in
I
how
have
is
to.
that?
I have to. Otherwise, I will go to prison. Unfortunately, I pay taxes in Poland, and like the rule with the taxes in the European Union is if you are not staying in any country for longer than 90 days, you are required to pay taxes in the country of your origin. For me, which for me is Poland. That's why I still pay taxes in Poland. And you can kind of skip that by, for instance, they're like the tax havens by going to United Arab Emirates or like Paraguay and make company there. But then there are like the requirements for those countries. And like if you're gonna do that, for me, I would lose like the healthcare system in Poland, and I would lose my retirement fund in Poland. Like retirement fund in Poland isn't working really, but like at least it's on.
But how it works like for you? Do they have a specific type of tax for remote workers?
Maybe I don't know. Like what most of my friends do. Like recently, they've been introduced the kind of discount for the people that do IT and things related to that. So like my field of work kind of works with it, and thanks to that, like my income tax is 10% of my salary, which is not as bad as like let's say Western European countries where like in Germany or like Spain is quite a lot. Or like in Sweden it's almost 40%. So not complaining again.
Okay.
It could be better, but I'm not complaining.
Okay. So you are constantly traveling and you have a remote work. Do you consider yourself a digital nomad?
I don't like this thing. I would say I'm a remote worker, yes. Digital nomad, no.
Why?
Because the vast majority of the people that identify themselves as digital nomad, in my opinion, are not the people I want to spend time with. And also this, like the whole like community of the digital nomads and like all these people, they also cause problems while they're like travel abroad and live, which I try to avoid doing that. Like for instance, they increase the rent of the apartments in the area and generally speaking prices for like renting Airbnb, hotels, etc., etc. Where I try to kind of not to be as big part of this problem. I always try to rent a room with somebody local, and or like try to look on the Facebook groups. And yeah.
And how many countries have you visited?
In total is 19 for now.
And how many do you intend to visit?
As much as I can.
Good answer. And how often do you change your country, the place of residence?
It's also based on how long my visa allows me to stay in some countries. Like it's usually between 2 or 3 months, and I think this time is like the best amount of time to see if you like the place, if you like the vibe, to actually get to know people that live there, not like the tourists. Because when you travel, you usually meet other travelers, and you kind of still stick in your bubble, and you never like experience the culture. So I try to live at least 2-3 months. And in some countries, when I kind of stay longer, for instance, Mexico, which is like almost half of a year, like you can also do that.
Okay. And you kind of talk about it, but can you be more specific about what are your criteria for choosing your place of residence?
It's first the most important food. I love good food. Then I'm fan of the hot weather, and generally speaking, like I also like to visit my friends that live in many places abroad, so it's also a big factor for me. The culture I'm interested in, I want to experience, or I don't know much about. Like for instance, now I live in the Arabic countries, where in Europe it's rather they have a very negative reputation, and I want to go to those places and see for myself, like how different is it and how the stereotypes don't apply to those places. And also, I really like architecture, and Middle East, especially Middle East, is like wonderful old architecture. Also, like the new architecture where they mix the old style with the brand new, and it's still cohesive. Where like in Europe, it's all over the place and it's a fucking mess. But like here, this kind of this is like way better.
Here you mean Morocco?
Yeah, like Morocco, the same I experienced in Turkey, in Israel, and I want to still see the Iran and the Tunis, Algeria, and other like Arab countries.
And by like which platforms or means you choose? What do you use to choose where you will live next?
I mean, like I have general knowledge about geography. In high school, I have like the advanced geography, how it's called in Poland, and also I watch a lot of documentaries, and based on that, kind of know more or less. Also, I really like history, so if there's like an old building or like some interesting history behind some place, I want to go there. And when I pick like the place, then I go like to Facebook groups to find accommodation, then or like to couch surfing to find people that can like host me.
And what expenses do you have?
It's like the biggest one is obviously accommodation. There are also flights, but like when you look for the flights and you're like flexible with the date, it can be like really cheap. Then it's obviously food and like activities, like traveling, like paying for the buses, paying for like some museum tickets, etc.
And have you ever experienced any cultural shock? Like, would you like to talk about it?
Yes, when I spent, it was almost 5 months in the Middle East, and after that I flew back to, like my last country was Turkey, Istanbul, which was like very lively. And after that I flew to Europe, to Hungary, to Budapest. And in hostel I met people from South America, Brazilians to be precise. And we decided to go out to the city to experience the city because it was also their first day in Hungary. So like Budapest is famous for like their big clubs and their nightlives. They have very beautiful clubs. But the thing is, when we went there, and the club was huge, like 8 rooms, music, everything, but nobody was dancing. Like it was so dead, and it like just hit me like, oh, that's why I don't live in Europe anymore.
What is happening?
And the people were like, generally speaking, colder.
Okay. And do you identify yourself with any specific culture?
I mean, technically speaking, Poland is Central Europe, but we are like identifying ourselves a little bit as an Eastern European, or the more accurate to put is like ex-Soviet country. So I would say this thing, because when I travel and when I meet people from Western Europe, it's like for us hard to find a common ground and common experiences. Or when I meet people from the Eastern Europe, or let's say when I met people from Venezuela, for instance, we like clicked instantly because we somehow have the same experience.
But what makes you different? Like, what distinguishes you?
Traumatic childhood, lack of money as well. This is and, and dark humor. Like
what?
this
Please
is
give me
our
an example.
of traumatic childhood.
Yeah, like what do you mean?
Like in general speaking, most of the people have the same kind of backstory in Eastern Europe. Like one parent's going to Western Europe to work, so we can live. Probably in your family there is like grandpa alcoholic, and there were never enough money for anything. And like we used to work from the like when we were like 14, 15, we have to go to work to like earn for ourselves. So
Okay. And what do you always like carry with you? Like what is indispensable for you? You have to have it always.
like obviously laptop because I have to work with that, and camera. But like from like the obvious things, I would say like I would have to carry a pen definitely, because when you travel and you change the accommodation, they don't have good pan in the apartment. So that should be a thing I should carry. But for now, it's like the stuff for exercising, like the small things.
Oh, healthy.
Have to have that 6 packs for the summer, you know.
Yes, yeah, I know. And what is important to you in a home?
Bed and desk, internet. I really like. It's nice to have a nice place to stay, but I don't really care that much, to be frankly honest. As long as it's clean and safe, I'm like I'm okay.
And what do you consider as a home?
It's a I don't know. I don't feel I have home. I think I would consider a place home if I would live there and I would enjoy living there for extended period of time. As for now, I don't have an answer for that, to be fair.
And how is your relationship with the places you visit?
Like so far, the one I wanted to visit, I enjoyed them really much. I want to come back to many of them. For instance, Mexico or Colombia. I would love to live there for an extended period of time. The places I visited in Western Europe, like Great Britain, Sweden, Germany, or France, I wouldn't necessarily want to visit again. Though the Portugal and Spain were nice. Like, I would like to come back there, but not necessarily live there, because it's too nice in a sense.
And if there were no impediments, what would your ideal physical world be like?
The place where I like literally can travel and don't worry about like my visa for 30 days or something, that I can really like stay in a place and just don't care about it.
Okay, but like physically, how is the weather, the landscape?
I would say the closest to that was the Pacific coast of Mexico, where you have like a jungle, mountains, and warm ocean. It was very nice. But I also love mountains, so I would say like the Alps. I don't know. And I also love desert. I love a lot of places.
A citizen of the world.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the world is too big to pick like the perfect.
Okay. And what would your ideal routine look like?
Like, I wake up, have my like fresh fruit, let's say mango from the tree, then go to the beach to like swim or surf, a little bit of work, and then let's say take the car or like motorbike and go somewhere to like hike, walk, meet people, like just generally speaking, enjoy myself.
And among the options, what is more important to you? You have like great purchasing power, even if you do not have like any identity or cultural relationship with the locality. Or you don't have a lot of purchasing power, but you are established and you identify yourself with the culture and you have good relationship with the locality.
Definitely second option. Yeah.
Okay. And do you think about to settle like somewhere in the future? Do you have plans for it?
I don't plan stuff, so it's a big unknown at the moment.
Really?
Yeah, like, nah. I mean, I'm still young. Like, come on, I don't have plans.
But do you think about it like in the future you will settle in a place?
No, I try to live in a moment. Like, obviously, there's like future somewhere. It exists, and like you have to plan for that because everybody gonna be old. But for me, it's more about the gut feeling, how I feel at the moment, and what I want to do. Like, I know I could always come back to Poland and live in Poland. I don't want to do that, but like, it's always an option, like the safe exit. But besides that, no.
But what would you consider to choose the country?
Definitely people and the atmosphere. I don't necessarily need like the beautiful, super clean place like in Europe, but like Europe isn't really clean, to be fair. But like if the community is nice and the place is also like interesting visually, and that I think is the most important. I had that experience in Colombia, in Medellin, where the people were just like absolutely amazing, and the place was also a quite interesting place to live.
And if you have to live in your country, in Poland, like permanently, what do you think your life would be like?
Sad and miserable, definitely.
Oh my, tell me more about
No,
it.
like Poland isn't that bad, but I think like the problem with for me would be as a Pole, I'm aware of the problems of the country and like all the politics and shenanigans and the cultural stuff which foreigners are not aware of. And for me, that would be like just too annoying to tolerate.
And have you ever experienced xenophobia or racism somewhere?
Yes. In Belgium and with people from Netherlands I've met in Portugal. Because Poles have like the stereotype in Western Europe of A, being a thieves, or B, they are construction workers and they can build your house. And that was like the main driving force for the jokes. I don't really care about that stuff, but like looking on the conversation from the side, it was like just abruptly racist. I was like, it is what it is. I don't care.
Okay. Do you think your lifestyle is for everyone?
No, I tried to encourage my friends to like travel with me or visit me, but some people just need that routine and stability and to stay in one place. While for me, it's exhausting to stay in one place and have like the routine. It's kind of depressing. I mean, it requires somebody that is more like free spirited, let's say, this way.
Do you think the world would be if more people decided to live the way you live?
Like, I think and seeing the things that are happening right now, it would be like quite bad for local communities. This happened in Portugal in Madeira and also in Marrakesh here. Like basically here, as example, the Marrakesh, like a lot of people from France come and they drive the prices way up, where like local people from Marrakesh cannot afford to live in the center and they have to live on the outskirts of the city. And the prices in the restaurants are also absolutely not affordable for them. And it's basically transformed in like French only places or like Italian only places. So it's not a good thing in the long run, I think. Like if the local government don't tackle those problems. The same happened in Prague as well, where all the old city was transformed into Airbnbs. Basically, without tourists, the old city of Prague is dead. Nobody lives there because like too expensive to live there, and there's nothing happening. And it would be nightmare to live there because of tourism. So I think like if you are not traveling with with those things in mind, and you just like go to cheap places because it's cheap, and you basically want to be in the cheaper country, but live as you live, let's say in Germany, and go somewhere but feel like home but cheaper. Like with the big amount of people, you're gonna ruin the place at the end of the day. It's gonna be bad. The same also happened in Portugal on the south, like when it's like fully British basically. And it's happening more and more in Porto as well, from what I've heard.
And can you see like a way we could do something to fix it?
I've seen how the Madeira in Portugal tried to tackle that problem. Basically, the thing was the local government tried to encourage digital nomads to come so they can, bring money to the island. But then they came, they drive the prices up, and they did it integrate with the locals, and they created their own balloon. And it wasn't a solution, but like I think kind of what the big cities in general, like London, or also like either you create the ghetto for those people, like very expensive district, lock them there and you do you, kid, or you try to integrate them somehow and let's say ban Airbnbs in the city. Like some cities did that. So like in Colombia and Medellin, there is like the district called El Poblado, which is called Gringo Town, basically, because only people from US go there. The prices there are super expensive, but they stay there, and the rest of the city is relatively cheap and like friendly for the locals. So it's also a solution.